So, hey, how's it going, Crypto U? This is Warren again. Just bringing you some more information. We came across a project that several people have been asking some questions about, and it's a project called Telos. And so, I've had the fortunate, I've just been fortunate to be able to meet JT. He actually lives here in Waco now. And so that's where we moved this past year. And so we've got JT Buice with us today from Telos. So, anyway, he is the co-founder of Telos, and he is also on the board of advisors and one of the developers for the project too. So he has a lot of understanding, basically from top to bottom of the entire project. And so heard about it a little bit last year, and we even went out and ate lunch. And at the time, he was telling me the price was I think like 12, 13 cents or something like that. And
Yeah.
I kind of hesitated at first, and man, I'm kicking myself now because it definitely did well, over the last probably 6, 8 months. And so anyway, JT, man, it's great to catch up with you today. How's it going?
Yeah, Warren, thanks. Thanks for the invite. I'm glad to be here. It's going well. I can't wait to talk about some crypto.
Awesome. So, I'd just like to, anytime we open up one of these conversations, just kind of like to talk a little bit about your crypto past and kind of how you got into the space. It's always
Yeah,
interesting for each person. So tell us a little bit about what got you involved in crypto, and
sure.
yeah, start there.
So I was really introduced to crypto in 2011 while I was working at SpaceX. There was a lot of when you work at SpaceX, there's a lot of young people and young people without families. And so whenever they're not talking about space stuff or aerospace engineering or IT or whatever we were doing, it was usually some kind of adult beverage and crypto was the conversation that would always come up. You got all of this, like you got all these young people with surplus income just trying to figure out where to put it. So yeah, in 2011, I had one of my friends came up to me at my desk and he's like, "Hey, have you bought any Bitcoin?" And I said, "No, I never have. It's always been something that it's like, is it going to make it? Is it not going to make it? Is it fake? Are we going to lose everything?" So yeah, anyway, he and I actually bought our first Bitcoin together in 2011, promptly sold very shortly after after it had gone up $3 or $4. Man, we thought we were rich.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm sure there are hundreds of thousands of people with that same story.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, after that, it just was always an interest, and trying to educate ourselves on different projects besides Bitcoin. I mean, Coinbase for the longest time, all you could do was buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm a 1 on the Enneagram. So as far as right and wrong is concerned, I was never one to, be one of the degens that was trying to evade taxes or something like that. So I was always afraid to use exchanges outside of the US.
Yep.
But I've gotten over that in recent years.
Yeah, I know, man. They just strap everything down here in the States. It's been, quite a ride, obviously, to see, what they've allowed, what they haven't allowed. And, it really is a shame. I mean, hopefully they'll pull back on some of that and allow, just more innovation to happen and be more supportive of the space. But, I don't know. I guess it's
Yeah.
challenging a lot of the old infrastructure. So we'll see how
Yeah.
that all.
And I think this executive order that Biden signed a few weeks ago, where it seemed like they were very open to having an official digital currency for the US dollar. I think if that happens, it's going to be huge. Like, we don't have to deal with Tether anymore. We don't have to deal with USDC. We can trade directly to the US dollar on a blockchain network. It being run by the government. I don't know how secure it's going to be, but
We'll have 3 entities that don't want to be audited then.
Yeah, right.
None of the stable coins ever want to be audited, including the US government.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I know. But I think the future is right, man. I think we're still early. I think that I actually bought my first NFT maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay.
Somebody on one of the artists that deals NFTs specifically on the Telos chain made one for me. He knew that I collect and restore antique tractors as a hobby, and he knew that I like whiskey, and so he made it's a corgi NFT that's got an antique tractor painting in the background, and this corgi sitting down in this nice plush recliner with a nice glass of whiskey. So I immediately had to buy that one and say, well, I'm not real big into the NFT art thing, but I got to get this one.
Yeah, totally. I know I kind of got the NFT bug towards the end of last year as well. I had a good friend of mine, Tim, who came on and did an interview with us. He's got a project called Coin Games, and he's basically building a studio and created and launched his first NFT, and is also getting into the gaming space now too. So it was but he came on and told us all about NFTs, the good, bad, the ugly, and told us not to be afraid with all of the stuff that we've seen out there connected with them. But I got into a few last year myself, got into some crypto bulls that did pretty good at the very beginning, and bought probably, I don't know, 40 or 50 of them since then. So it's it's been a lot of fun. But just seeing the difference, I guess, not only just with art and seeing some of the community value that's there with some projects, not all. But I think there's still a lot of innovation to be had in that. So that is cool though. But you said the NFTs are currently on Telos chain then, right?
Correct. Yeah, we have NFT marketplace for both our native chain and our Ethereum Virtual Machine, which we can get into later. But we fully support an NFT market, in addition to one of our contributors, and actually the founding member, white paper author, Douglas Horn. His company, Good Block, is working on an IPFS implementation called D-Store, which is really awesome.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to be storing, and actually already are storing, several NFT collections on D-Store, which is really cool. It's cheap, it's easy, and it integrates well with Telos. We're going to have our node operators, the storage node operators, we paid in Telos for whatever they're storing. So it's another cool project that we've got that's ramping up. Nice.
That's cool. Well, yeah, let's just back up, I guess, just a little bit. Hearing your crypto story, obviously having some successes there, learning a lot, being a part of SpaceX, and then kind of the recently getting an NFT. Let's figure out, where did you transfer from your intro into crypto to wanting to be an innovator in the space and kind of birthing Telos?
Yeah, sure. So in around February of 2018, I was introduced to a guy by the name of Dan Lamere online. He is kind of the brainchild of the EOSIO software. And so I was actually hired by a third party after I started my own business to help him build infrastructure so that he could be competitive for the EOS launch. And shortly after the EOS launch, he unfortunately wasn't voted in as a block producer. EOS is a proof of it's a DPoS chain, so it's distributed proof of stake chain. And he wasn't voted in as a block producer for very long, but Douglas actually, who also was involved in the EOS launch, approached me and told me that he felt like, EOS is doing it all wrong and we can do it better, and convinced me to come on board to help out as a co-founder of Telos. So we hit the ground right away, and we worked tirelessly from about March of 2018 to December when we finally launched the chain. And it was with this decentralized team that I could never be more proud of. We worked with people from all over the world, and it was about a core group of 30 people. And then we had another 50 to 100 kind of part-timers who were in and out. everything from developers, system and network guys like me, to tokenomics professionals, marketing, PR pros, the whole gambit really came together, came on board. We came up with a pie slicing model for our time. So, we said, okay, well, here's this pot of Telos. This is all there's ever going to be, split amongst the founders. I think at the time it was only like 3% of the whole value of the chain. And then, everybody who did work logged their time in a centralized app where everybody else could see what they were doing. And then when we launched it, we split that pot up, and it's been really successful. So right now, we're sitting somewhere at 85 cents, something like that. When we launched at around 10 cents. And unfortunately, being December 2018, I don't know if you remember that time, Warren, but it became winter. It became winter very quickly. Yep. And the thing about Telos that was different was that we didn't have an ICO. We did everything grassroots with basically volunteer labor. A bunch of people who didn't know what was going to happen. We never had any VC money. It was always just us and the will to survive.
Yeah, and you definitely had to have that during that entire winter time, because there were so many projects that just fell off, and my wallets are full of coins that no longer exist. From that time.
We really could have easily been one of those. I mean, we went sub penny there for a few weeks during crypto winter, and very easily could have been one of those chains that gave up. But since we didn't have the ICO, and the people had already, they came in with eyes wide open, no blinders, that we're just going to work hard and make it happen. And that's what we did.
That's cool. Well, so tell me just a little bit about what birthed the idea of obviously the work for Telos, and kind of what maybe the mission or, some of the goals were of Telos.
Sure. So a few of the things, one, since it is a DPoS chain, one of our concentrations was to be green, versus mining Ethereum or Bitcoin or any other proof of work chain that Telos is much greener, less energy, less servers, less work for as far as an electrical standpoint. Mm-hmm. But still, it encourages the community to be active and to vote. I think we have somewhere around, the chain's only worth, I think we only have 330 million Telos that is floating around the universe, and over 100 million of that has been voted for block producers or chain validators, same thing. And I get to know who the validators are, and then they take their earnings and their stake of Telos, and then they vote for us. So we have the top 21 chain validators are they get paid a certain amount per every 30 minutes, and then the next 21 below that are standby, and they get rotated in to make sure that their hardware is working. They get rotated in about every 2 weeks to validate the chain themselves for about 6 hours. And then they get rotated back out for somebody else to get rotated in, which was a really cool idea. I think that might've been Douglas's idea, because on other proof of stake chains, people that are typically standby, they don't do any work. And there's no guarantee that their hardware is actually ready to go in case they get voted into the top 21 or whatever their validation number is. But anyway, the other things that are different, governance. Governance is probably the biggest thing that was different. I know Dan wanted governance for EOS, and he had a pretty lengthy plan to get it done, and it just never came to fruition. Partly because, now the exchanges own that chain.
Okay.
And that was one of the rules that we came in with, was that exchanges could not vote. We don't allow it. We don't allow double ownership of chain validators. Our governance model is such that if any community member, any Telos holder wants to come in and has an idea, we have a proposal system on chain. They can submit a proposal, and then it goes into a vote. And there's two types of vote. You can vote by person or account, or you can vote by what your stake is. And the person submitting the proposal gets to choose which way they want to do it. And then we go in and look at the proposals. I go in and look at the proposals about once a week and just vote on things that are there, whether or not I like it or not. So it's really a cool way to be able to bring about ideas that, some of us that are really busy working in the chain instead of working on the chain. We get these idea people that come in and they just, blow us away with fantastic ways that we can improve.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, so tell us some of the features, or, I know you've talked about some of the differences, but like, what are some of the features of Telos, someone, that could use Telos versus some of the other options that are out there? What are some of the features and benefits that you would say that Telos has?
Yeah, sure. So, after after crypto winter, we had kind of lost a lot of momentum. We had no money. And that's when we came out with a plan called the Tulip Plan. It was a funding plan where we were actually selling NFTs that we called T-bonds. And so it was Telos inside of a bond that would automatically garner the buyer a certain percentage of gain, guaranteed them a percentage of gain, depending on how long they left the bond locked up. So you could buy like a 3-month bond, you could buy a 6-month, you could buy a year. I think you could buy a 2-year as well. And so I think even on the 2 years, you almost doubled your money. So that T-bond sale really gave the initial oomph to be able to get some money that we could deal with for marketing and for project development. And kind of out of that was born the idea of an Ethereum Virtual Machine. So that came in year 3, which was, a gigantic shift, thanks to the dev work of Jesse Schulman for the most part, and a couple other guys that had a key hand in developing the EVM, which allows any Solidity smart contract that's meant to run on the Ethereum network to be deployed and run on the Telos blockchain with no changes whatsoever. So anything you can run on Ethereum, you can run it on Telos. And the advantage there is that, on Ethereum, especially when things get busy and the price is high, you're going to buy an NFT. How much is it going to cost you in fees?
A couple $100.
How much is it costing? How much is it?
A couple $100. At times,
exactly.
I mean, it's cost me 150. I paid 275. I think I paid 450. One time was the most.
Yeah,
for a single transaction.
Ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yeah.
On Telos, it's about a cent, maybe 2 cents.
That's a
so
huge difference.
I'm going. We have dexes now. We have farming apps. I get the one that I'm using the most right now is called Zappy.finance. Man, I'll go in there and I'll harvest my farm and compound that sucker like 3 or 4 times a day. It costs me 5 cents to do it. On Ethereum, you can't. I mean, you're lucky if you do that a week. It's like,
right.
Well, it's going to cost me another $50 to go in and harvest my farm just to do a single transaction. The other feature is that we have half-second block times. So when I go in to harvest my farm and I press that button, that transaction is on chain so fast that it actually takes longer for MetaMask to refresh. Like, MetaMask, what the heck are you waiting for, right? Like,
Yeah.
I see the transaction go by. Since I run some of the servers, like I'll see the transaction go by, I'll see it be indexed on chain, and then MetaMask is still sitting there spinning. And it's just like, man, MetaMask, wake up. It's used to running on Ethereum, which, MetaMask runs so much faster than block times on Ethereum. But on Telos, it needs a little more work. So we're actually talking to the MetaMask developers to see if we can shorten those refresh times in order to make it appear that it's actually going even faster. But yeah, so any transaction that we do on chain takes anywhere from 5 to 14 seconds on average, and it's another cool feature. So that entire EVM was developed internally by our team. It is not a fork of the Geth project. So some of our notoriety really came from when we hired a group called Sentinel to come in and do as a third party auditor for our contract. And while they were fuzzing our EVM, they were fuzzing it. They were putting data into our EVM and putting data into the Geth EVM. And while doing that, making sure that the result was always the same between them. And during one of their fuzz tests, the result was different. So our EVM produced a different result than Geth. And upon investigation, found that Geth had a gigantic bug that could cause hard forks of the Ethereum network and be able to steal ETH, which is crazy, absolutely nuts. And so we made that public. Well, not made it public, but we told the developers, the core developer group, they got a patch out. Then we had all these news releases like, hey, Telos is developing EVM. They found a bug in Geth. And that brought about a $7 million investment from some of the original Ethereum founders, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And that really helped fuel our rocket ship of success.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like it. That's really cool. I mean, I bet those were some interesting conversations when you originally tried to contact them. They probably didn't believe that there was actually a bug there at first, right?
Yeah, no, and that was the EVM that like Polygon and Solana are using, right? So anyway, it was or I'm sorry, not Polygon and Solana. I think Polygon may be doing their own thing. Definitely Avalanche is using it. There's several other chains that are using it. But anyway, after that was done, it's only been upward, mainly upward momentum, as the market turns and the price goes up and down just like everything else. But, we've been holding a pretty steady base and are increasing our user count every day. And people love the fact that they can come in and deploy on our chain and it'd be really cheap.
Sure. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I know talking about MetaMask, there was some news this week that Apple Pay had integrated with them. I wonder how that will work. It seems like it could bring some new people into the space. I guess you can purchase crypto now through MetaMask using Apple Pay. So I think that's the first time we've seen. I think that's the first time we've seen Apple really kind of dip their toes into putting their name out there. I don't know, maybe on a few other things, but this was definitely that was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that one, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's going to happen, man. I mean, the adoption is huge. The interest is only gaining. I mean, when you have people like my dad who, turns 65 next week, comes into my office, he sits on my couch, and he knew that I had been working in Telos for 3 years. and sits on my couch, and he gets out his legal pad, and he's like, I got some questions for you. He had been reading and watching videos, and he's one of those guys that doesn't want to invest in things that he doesn't understand.
Sure.
So kind of the Warren Buffett model, right?
Yep.
Never going to put money into something he doesn't understand. So he comes in, he sits on my couch for about 2 hours asking questions, just bouncing back and forth, trying to understand what blockchain is, what this crypto thing is, because he didn't want to be left behind. But he also realized that with all of these junk coins, hundreds and hundreds of junk coin projects that do not have any utility, that Telos is really set apart because that's been our only goal, is utility. Like we're here for the tech. You see those memes all the time, those guys, the huge gold necklaces, like with the titles, like, I'm here for the tech. Well,
Yep.
But that's really true with us. Like we are tech guys at heart. And I really feel like that's what helped us make it through those sub-penny months, was the fact that we were here for the tech, and we knew that we could do it better.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Well, tell me, it's funny that you said that, because my dad did the exact same thing this year. I mean, I've been telling him about crypto since, I've been encouraging him to buy since probably 2017. And had mentioned it even before that, but he really just wasn't even trying to hear it at that point. But at 2017, he's like, oh, okay. And then he still didn't buy anything, and then he kicked the tires or whatever again. And then, here in like 2020, 2021, he's like, all right, so tell me about this crypto stuff. I'm hearing about it all over, all over the channels that he's looking at, and so and then he comes in there and he's like, he calls me up the first day. He's like, hey, so I bought some of this SHIB coin. I was like, oh God, facepalm. No. Like, what are you doing? Like, okay, I know exactly what you're listening to right now. Like, this is, just stay away from those channels, Dad. Turn your phone off when it comes to crypto stuff. Just call me. I'll help sort you out. And so, it was quite the journey. He learned his lesson too. I mean, he came in and he bought, and then all of a sudden it immediately fell. He's like, it doesn't matter what it is. I'll buy Bitcoin, and that's the day it's going to fall. I said, well, join the crowd. Everybody feels that way, because
everybody feels that way. That's the truth,
because it happens. But yeah,
that's
so
right.
Anyway, he's finally learned a little bit more this time, and kind of learned, okay, cool. Like, maybe I should stay away from some of those crap coins and stuff that are out there or whatever. But
right.
I don't know, maybe SHIB will put something together a little better than some of the other ones, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I was like, Dad, the coin, at the time when you're buying all of this stuff, I was like, what's the utility? What do they have? What are you talking about, utility? I'm like, oh, okay. You're just buying it because it's a meme and it's popping up on your phone all the time. That's what it is,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Well, you can buy a trip to space with it,
right?
and Doge.
Yeah,
get enough of either one, you can go to space.
That's true. Is Elon still accepting Doge for Teslas?
I think they are.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy too. I mean, that's an awesome market. And even like some of our cloud hosting providers, which is great. Like, because our cloud hosting providers now are taking crypto for payment for a lot of the servers that we're running for Telos.
Okay.
So we no longer have, sell pressure because of having to sell Telos to pay for the infrastructure. We can just, we can convert to something else and go, any market maker and convert to, or they won't take Telos, but they'll take Ethereum, they'll take Bitcoin. I think they even take Doge and SHIB. But anyway, it's the world's changing, dude. And I am just glad to have a small part of it.
Yep. No, I agree. Well, so tell me about some of the other projects and stuff that are using Telos now. I know I was flipping through the website and saw several, name a few of those, and just, maybe some of the feedback that you're getting from them from obviously being from using your chain.
Sure. Yeah. So we already have multi-chain. We have Sushi Swap. We have Omnidex. And I think I talked about Zappy before. In addition to that, we have about, I mean, the website has a lot of dApps that are mentioned. I think a lot of these are works in progress.
Okay.
I would say there's probably 20 core dApps that have really a name for themselves, that are kind of at the top of the list of the website. Also, right now we have both a hackathon and a new grants initiative that we just released that will be worth 12 million Telos over the next couple of years. The Telos Foundation, which I'm a member of, we have a board of 9 individuals, and the Telos Foundation gets money from the chain, or Telos from the chain, to operate. The sole purpose of the foundation is the betterment of Telos, like spreading the name of Telos and making the chain better in whatever means possible, right? So we, and actually, if I can backtrack a little bit, our validators are paid, just like other DPoS chains. The Telos that comes into the Telos Foundation. So the chain right now is not inflationary at all. We have not been printing tokens for 2 years at this point. Part of our launch procedure, we actually took the EOS Genesis file, the original Telos buyers. So, the original EOS buyers, you bought it as an ERC20 token that was then converted to EOS. That was the way that they raised, all of their funds. Okay. We basically just took that list, that Genesis file, and we gave all the Telos away to all of those people. So anybody who had EOS, you also got the same amount of Telos up to, gosh, that was 3 years ago. It was either 20 or 40,000 Telos, right? That's what we capped it at. So if you had 100,000 EOS that you had bought as an ERC20 token, then we went in and capped it at, I'm pretty sure it was 40,000. So with the cap in place, it was trying to prevent whales from being able to come in and just run the network right off the bat, right? So anybody who didn't come onto the chain and do at least one transaction a year after we launched, we considered those tokens as not claimed, and we took them back. So to the order of about 100 million, I want to say it was about 100 million tokens that we took back after the first year. And that is actually what we've been operating the chain out of, so that we are non-inflationary. And actually the goal is that with a lot of these dApps that we have coming online, both internal and external, that we are going to become deflationary. So we'll be able to quit pulling funds out of that reserve fund, and be able to operate the chain with fees. So that's another goal that I forgot to mention earlier on. But anyway, with the hackathon and the grants program right now, the hackathon, we had 250,000 Telos in that. We called it Spark. The grants program we're calling Ignite, if you can see the theme. And
Left off. Is that next?
Yeah, right. And we've got 12 million Telos dedicated to that program. So we've got a board of judges that are third party. They're not related to Telos. They're not a part of the foundation in any way. They're developers and users that are judging these projects. And so anybody who wants to run either on native or on the EVM can bring their project ideas to us and apply. I think we've had well over 150 applications that the teams are sorting through right now. And those are that's going to change the face of everything. If you've got the fastest chain in the world and you've got the lowest fees and you're the best, none of it matters if you don't have developers.
Yep.
If you don't have projects coming on board, none of it matters. So, after we deployed the EVM in this past October, we deployed it this past October, made it official. We had the official release in January, and people are building on it, man. And so yeah, you'll be able to see that list. You can also go to the grants. Go to telos.net and check out the grants website and see the people that have applied, see the projects that are coming on board. There's a lot of cool ones in there. And in the going back to the NFT conversation, there is a lot of non-art NFT stuff coming on board, because I've always felt that the NFTs, like the art NFTs, are the thing that gets us to the thing. I can't remember what movie that was. There's some movie, that is like, oh, it's the thing that gets us to the thing. And that's how I feel about NFTs, because, the art thing is a good start, but when we start minting NFTs for things like concert tickets and airplane tickets, and being able to track land, like we have one of our Telos contributors started their own DAO, and they actually bought some of the land through their DAO in the state of Wyoming, which Wyoming has become very crypto and DAO friendly, much like Florida and Texas for that matter. Like Texas is more mining friendly. It's probably the most mining friendly state. But yeah, they bought land as an NFT, through their DAO in the state of Wyoming, which was a pretty amazing feat. I mean, I know that it's all just starting, but the fact that there's land now being tracked on chain, on the Telos chain, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think the NFT stuff is really just kind of getting kicked off. I mean, right now, you really kind of see at least the most popular things. It's either gaming attached, it's community based, or it's art based, or kind of like the three big ones. But those don't really have the utility that you're talking about, And so, to really see it go into tickets and things. Currently I had a good friend of mine who called me, who works for Chick-fil-A corporate this week. And he was asking me if I would be willing to take a call with one of the tech guys there at Chick-fil-A about talking to them about integrating NFTs, just at a high level, and just at a very, basically just having a phone call to talk about, seeing if there was some synergies and stuff there that they could potentially use. But
there totally is. That would be awesome. Because I don't know, for people that don't really live in the South, or people that don't have Chick-fil-A, first off, I'm really sorry.
Exactly. I know, you don't know what you're missing. It's way better than In-N-Out.
It's so good. It's so good. And secondly, their app is actually really good. Like, they've gamified their app. They've got these different levels of tiers. The more Chick-fil-A you buy, the higher tier you get. Well, if you go in and say that you automatically get an NFT minted, that's Chick-fil-A specific for you when you meet one of those upper echelon levels, or even just randomly, like if you went in and bought through the app and went through the drive-through express and got an NFT minted for you that day, that would be awesome, dude. I would go back just for that. I would go more just for that.
Exactly.
I think that's a great. Oh, I lost you there for a second.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, we're back. Yeah, no, I totally. I think that there's probably, at least 100 things that they do on a day-to-day basis that they could probably use an NFT for in some way, shape, or form. And, building community and getting the feedback from the community is something that they're already trying to do. But right now you have to do it through a receipt, call in, potentially get a Chick-fil-A as your bonus prize or whatever for giving them feedback, or whether the restaurant was clean and all this other stuff. So, I think that there's a lot of valuable feedback they could get from creating a community, an NFT community that they closely worked with. So, yeah, I'm excited about the call, and we'll see. Maybe I'll have you join us on that call. We can spitball on some ideas and see what happens. That could be fun, right?
Yeah, I'd be looking forward to that.
We'll launch it on Telos.
Yeah,
that would be cool,
dude. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Right.
I'll have developers ready tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I figured it would be cool. We can get some I don't know, cow. We'll get some cow NFTs, or maybe we'll go to Truett's Cars, or I don't know. We could do something fun.
That'd be
cool.
great. Yeah, we actually we just had a new NFT artist join us officially. He goes by the name Big Gooey. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's a punks artist. He's done other punks projects, and he's currently working on a Telos punks project for us / Good Block, which is Douglas Horn's company.
Okay.
And I'm pretty excited about that. There is also, I can't give away too many details because it's not public yet. Sure. But there is some really cool NASA stuff that may or may not be happening soon, that I am thoroughly excited about. I've known about it for about 2 months. It's been maybe 2 or 3 months in the making, and it's finally happening. So be on the lookout for that, because I feel like things are going to, you were talking about liftoff or takeoff or whatever. Like it's gonna happen with this project.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I'll have to make sure I pay attention to that one as well. I'm going to take your word this time.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so just looking at your guys' roadmap and stuff that you're currently working on versus stuff that you are planning to work on, give us just a little bit of where you're at currently on goals, and then some of the stuff that you have that's a little further down on your roadmap that you're working towards.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm actually I'm bringing it up myself right now, just to as a refresher.
Sure.
So I can run through a lot of this pretty quickly. So Telos EVM, we've already talked about. Decide Voter, we talked a little bit about governance. We have an app that you can go and download from either the Apple App Store or Android called Decide Voter. The idea there being that we can take not only elections, but let's say, your homeowners association or your, community city golly, what are your city representatives called? City council, right? So city council meetings. Go into a city council meeting, and if you don't go, you have no idea who voted for what. I mean, you can go online and look at the minutes. Maybe they post the minutes, but it doesn't say who voted for what and who you would support. And using the Decide mobile app or the Decide Voter, you would be able to go in, load anything that those people are voting on. They can vote there with their mobile phone, and all of that data be 100% public for full transparency. Because right now, unless you go, there's just no transparency in homeowners associations, nonprofit board, organizations, or city councils. And so we're trying to change a lot of that through the use of this app and bring a lot of those. I don't think that it'll ever do anything as big as, a presidential U.S. president election.
Sure.
But for those other things, totally major game changer, in my opinion. D-Store, we talked about a little bit already. It's IPFS based with a little bit of Telos sprinkled in. The Telos scan, it's on here as beta. We actually released that about 2 months ago. It's teloscan.io, and that is our EVM block explorer. So that was done. As far as the future goes, the developers right now are working on EVM 2.0, better, faster, cheaper. That's always the goal. And so those are the three things that we're trying to accomplish by bringing about faster Solidity solutions. T-Swaps 3.0, we've already had 2 versions of T-Swaps that is native to our chain. And then DApp incentive program, we talked about that. Sure Profit is a little bit of a brainchild of Douglas himself. He is wanting to allow traders to ensure that no matter what trade that they're going to make, that the trade will cancel if the trader is not going to profit, which is a pretty cool idea, because I don't know that I've seen that anywhere.
I wish I would have had that a few times. Don't
right?
do this.
So
don't do it.
exactly. So go in and it tracks your transactions, tracks the math for resources, for gas fees, whatever, and you be able to set up bots. And the sure profit idea is that you'll never have a net loss for the end user.
Wow.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It's a development project. We'll see what happens with that. Let's see. The Telos Blocks Explorer, we already talked about that. Telos ID, I am not super familiar with that project. And I would have to get somebody else to weigh in on that one. The Telos private, that is the idea of having Telos side chains where we're able to go in and privatize, run a private Telos chain on the side for a company, for business that, wants to, like auto manufacturer, for instance. I mean, sure. Auto supply manufacturers, chain. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. They don't necessarily want their stuff to be public, but blockchain makes a lot of sense to be able to store their stuff fairly feelessly and be able to track globally instantaneously without having to have huge server farms of custom applications. So that's the idea there. Decide Voter, Decide Voter Plus. That's kind of version 2, Decide Voter. And then Telos Location, which that's going to allow proof of location using the Telos blockchain. So we can, users carry out location mining of the system, kind of like, what was Pokemon Go? Yep. Did you ever play that?
Not that I admit to anybody.
Okay.
No, I do know what you're talking about. It was funny. I was living in Connecticut at the time, and so there was like this mass, like hundreds of thousands of people that were going across like Central Park or whatever, looking for this big Pokemon and like stopping traffic and everything else.
Yeah,
it was nuts. But yeah, I'm familiar with it.
So we've got a dev team that's working on something similar that is blockchain based, that will be on the Telos chain. And so I'm pretty excited to see that come out. I think that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot on this roadmap. I wish that I could show you last year's roadmap. And I was actually looking for it earlier and I can't find it. So I can show you everything that we did in 2021, but we reviewed a lot of it here.
Yeah.
But it's, and I encourage people to go and do your own research, go in and go to telos.net, join us on Telegram, join us on our Discord server. We have Telos Tuesdays. Every Tuesday we go live either on YouTube, the Twitter chat platform, or Discord. And then we also have Telos Talks, which happens on Thursdays. We bring community contributors. We bring Telos Foundation board members, developers. We run the whole gambit. Mostly it revolves around dApp projects and just trying to feature dApps that are building on Telos.
Nice.
There's a lot of ways to be able to come and get involved, and I encourage everybody to go in and look. Also, we're trading on KuCoin and a few other exchanges. KuCoin's probably the highest volume, but again, also SushiSwap, Omnidex, and Zappy, and Multichain. So I mean, there's lots of ways to get Telos right now, and I'm excited about the future, man. 3 years has gone by faster than I can really describe, because people say that time flies when you're having fun. Well, 3 years went by and we were having a lot of fun. So yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. 100% in crypto. I feel like it's been the same thing. I mean, just trying to pay attention to as many projects as it is and seeing how fast that the space moves. I mean, literally you take like 1 week off and you're like, Oh, hold on a second. I feel like I'm so behind in like what's going on in the world
No,
right now.
I know, man. I went on vacation for 5 days and I was trying to keep up with stuff, but I've got thousands of missed messages on Telegram that I still need to go in and read. So I totally feel you there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I'll let you get back to that for sure. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much, JT, for coming out. And any last
Warren,
words you
thanks for the
have
invite.
for Crypto U? If you have any last words you want to share with Crypto U, feel free to do so.
Well, I'm in the group, so if anybody wants to tag me in a post and ask any questions or shoot me a DM, I'm happy to answer.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you as part of the community too. Thanks again, JT, and we will talk to you soon.